You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 12th meeting for the Long Beach Town Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
I know. Welcome, everybody, to the Long Beach Town Council meeting of May. Let's please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Meg. Could you do roll call?
For President Schmidt,
Here.
Anita Remges,
Here.
Ben Bartlett,
Here.
Cindy Levy,
Here.
Colleen Lane,
Here.
Attorney Willoughby,
Here.
Chief Swistek,
Present.
for Collins, I hear. That concludes roll.
Thank you. I have no opening remarks. I would,
I can make a motion
okay.
to accept to approve the minutes of the council meeting of April 14th, 2025.
Do we have a second for discussion?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Oh, I did, oh, never mind, I have some comments, but
Go ahead.
does Deanna listens to this? Deanna, public comment in the first large paragraph is Becky Lipton, Lipton. Chief, I didn't know whether this wording matters under police department, police commissions. The second sentence says many arrests have involved marijuana due to the many dispensaries in New Buffalo and the state of Michigan, while perhaps on regular traffic stops. I just thought that was, I don't know whether that wording is okay or just,
We can read the for them.
okay, just, and then, sorry, Meg, and then a few sentences down, Kayla Shablowski, administrative assistant instead of assistants. And those are my only comments.
Okay, would you like to amend your motion to approve with those changes?
Yes, I would.
Okay, I'll second that.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Are there any public comments which will be limited to 3 minutes? Any public comments in the audience?
9 people on Zoom.
Any public comments on Zoom? Not seeing any, we'll move on to committee reports. Police Department and Police Commission, Chief Swistek.
Good evening. For the month of April, the Long Beach Police Department responded to 410 calls for service when compared to 424 in the previous year, for a slight decrease of 14 calls for service. During the month, there were 19 incident reports documented. A total of 9 individuals were arrested. 1 felony arrest for driving as a habitual traffic violator. 3 misdemeanor arrests for driving while suspended. 2 misdemeanor arrests for invasion of privacy. 1 misdemeanor arrest for reckless driving. 1 misdemeanor arrest for possession of marijuana. And 1 misdemeanor arrest for resisting law enforcement, disorderly conduct, and possession of marijuana. We want to remind residents of the importance to making sure that their vehicles and their homes are secure at all times. During last month, the Long Beach Police Department responded to numerous calls reference attempted vehicle entries. We urge everyone to continue to keep your vehicles locked, keep your valuables out of sight. We have confirmed from video that was provided to us by several residents that there is an individual that has been walking through the neighborhoods between the hours of 9 p.m. and approximately 1 a.m. In the last week, we have not had any recent reports. I believe our increased traffic patrols, our patrols through the neighborhoods have helped reduce this activity by the unknown suspect. Also, back on April 30th, in the 1800 block of Lakeshore Drive, we had a confirmed attempted residential entry where pry marks were found on the patio door, where someone tried to pry open the patio door to get into the home that was unoccupied at the time. So again, I cannot say enough, make sure that your homes are locked, your vehicles are locked, and I want to assure everyone that we have increased our patrols. In fact, on Saturday night, we had a total of 4 deputies that were out working on Saturday night, and over the weekend, there were no major concerns to report, so I was very pleased with that. I did want to pass that along as just some public information for everyone's safety. Aside from that, we did not have a police commission meeting, and unless there are any questions regarding the police report, that's all I have at this time.
Thank you. Town Administrator, Chief Swister.
Couple of things I want to touch on. This morning, Jim Roy, who is a LaPorte County resident, came to the town, or came to Long Beach to drop off 25 American flags as a donation to the town. These are the flags that are used on Chesterton Drive from Hacienda to Lakeshore Drive. Jim Roy is the individual that donated these to us in previous years, along with the flag poles and the mounts for the flag poles. So I want to thank Jim for his continued donation to the town of Long Beach. He also donates to the city of Michigan City and the city of LaPorte, where you see the flags flying in the communities. All of these flags are donated by Mr. Roy. So a big thank you to Jim for bringing those out to us today. Community Center, the ADA bathroom is now complete. It is open. We have 2 potential renters looking at room 3 as well. And then there's information regarding room 3 outside the meeting room tonight, and then also on our social media pages. CCMG paving updates. The stormwater work, which consists of our dry wells and our catch basins, they will be completing that work in the next 2 weeks. You will begin to see the asphalt paving will start the last week of May and will continue through the month of June. I should be receiving a schedule from Reith Riley either this week or next week. As soon as we receive the schedule, we will get that out on email and on the town's website for everyone to know which neighborhoods Reith Riley will be in doing the paving throughout the month of June. And again, if there are any inconveniences, any questions, I've received numerous calls in the last couple of weeks. Please call or email me. I'd be happy to pass along any information that I have. The 2025 police Durango that the town council approved last fall was picked up today at LaPorte Dodge. We're very grateful to the council for your continued support in upgrading our vehicles. And the 2016 Ford Explorer that had 90,000 miles on it, I'm sorry, that one had 75,000 miles on it, was traded in. It had a lot of mechanical issues, but that has since been traded in. And so we're very pleased to have a new vehicle in our fleet today. The graphics will go on the vehicle this week, Thursday, and you should see the vehicle on the road by this Friday. Leaf collection went well. There are still some piles of sticks throughout the community and branches. I want to remind everyone that we do not pick those up, and it is the responsibility of the homeowners to either put them in your weekly trash or to contact a landscaping company to have those removed from your property. And then lastly, this meeting room, starting this Wednesday, May 16th, the upgrades to the audio and the video will begin. It's going to last about 2 days. A big thank you to Paul for all his help with that. Paul and I met with Advanced Communications last week, and they're ready to get that work going this week. So next month's meeting, our Zoom connection should be hopefully flawless. You should be able to hear it much better. And we'll have 2 new TV monitors in here along with a new control panel. We'll no longer be working off of this laptop computer. And we're very grateful again to the council for getting that approved as well. And that is all I have from the town administrative side.
Can I just comment on Reith Riley? They were down the street from me for a couple of days, and they were across the street from me for a couple of days. So much so that Joy asked why I had a porta potty in front of my house. But I just want to say they're incredibly polite and professional and get the job done, and I just, I'm thrilled that they were the contractor that the town, accepted the bid for, so.
Thank you. Volunteer Fire Department, Dave?
Different angle this Good evening, everyone. This is the Fire Department report for year-to-date activity through April 30th. On the fire side, we stand at 17 calls year-to-date. That's in comparison to 24 last year at this time. That's approximately a 29% drop in the calls. As much as we like to have activity, fire calls, it's okay, so I'll take the reduced number. We had actually a trash fire, and we had, I believe this was a gas leak, and then we had, as always, one false alarm. The average turnout for members still stands at 8, and that's looking at it over the last trailing 12 months. On the medical side, we stand at 35 calls this year. That's in comparison to 28 last year. And that's a 25% increase. And the actual activity, we had one heart attack call, one respiratory situation, one personal injury. In the 40 years I've done this, I've never had code 5, which is births, so didn't have any. A sick person, 1, seizure 1, unconscious 1, number of medical people on the call, average is 5. We're still holding at a good mark, 4.26 minutes for the response for fire call and 4.09 for medical. I forgot to put in, I think year to date, if I recall correctly, the hours donated to the town on behalf of the membership stands at about 480 hours. And Thursday, July 3rd, I may have mentioned it last, but that will be the ice cream social. Is there something else I've missed, Mark? No.
Fireworks on the 4th.
Fireworks on the 4th, so that concludes my report. Anita, any
Thank you
questions?
so much. Anyone have any questions?
Well, I could ask you to change the ordinance for the fireworks, or, go out and tell people it's not really true what it is, but we have to stick with the Indiana ordinance, so I'm not happy about it. It's
Yeah.
10 days.
Our biggest concern during the summer, and if it's even been a little bit of a dry spell, fireworks activities going off in the dunes area, on Lake Shore Drive, back in Moon Valley, and that can be a tinderbox. And I've seen where we've helped Michigan City over the years, they have a call that comes out to be at stop 10. And by the time we were at our stop 14, the fire's there. It depends on the way the wind's blowing, but it's fast moving. So hopefully we'll have a lot of rain and people will be safe.
Well, maybe that'll be the angle to take, that, it's dry, and and again, the hours on it are a little bit crazy, so I don't know what else to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. There was no fire commission meeting. Public Works, Kendra?
There was no Public Works either. We moved to quarterly meetings, so there was not.
Okay. Park Board, Kendra?
Couple updates for Park Board. One of the most important things I'll start with, unfortunately, we discovered, residents brought it to my attention, and I worked with the Park Board and the Tree Board. I know Ellen's on. Somebody girdled a tree at stop 26, which is I didn't print out the exact definition, but basically has been trying to kill the maple tree. There's like 4 maple trees at stop 26, and they've cut around the bark. It's been going on, I think, for a long time, because it's a pretty a pretty precise action you have to take. And then also proceeded to cover up all the cut marks with concrete, flagstone, and different kind of things. So it's definitely an intentional act, which is so disturbing. But I want to say, Mark, thanks, because I know you're, I think Corporal Farthing and some other people knocked on doors to around Stop 26 to see if anyone knew anything. I hope we can find the person and have some serious words with them, because I can't believe somebody would do that to our property. So the tree board and the park board worked together, and they brought someone out to take a look at it. I haven't had an update of when, but the plan is to repair it and save the tree as best we can. So it's the right thing to do, and also discouraged, because I think whoever did it would continue to do it to the other 4 trees that are there too. The only thing we can think of is somebody wants to improve their view, and I don't know why else. Those trees hold in the dunes, hold in the grass, are part of the whole structure of that stop. So very disappointing on that, but thanks for everybody's support. I don't know, Ellen, do you have anything to add on that? You're on mute if you do.
She's
Look at her face. You're muted.
Okay, I think I unmuted myself.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I had Charlie go there, and I guess CNA arborist, he said that there's some kind of new paint that they might be able to put around there that very much might help with it. He doubted it, and he said that we could expect that tree to die within 3 years. So I don't know who did it or anything, but I do know that our summer newsletter is coming out, and the tree board will be writing something about it. And we also want to make sure that we do use the girdle tree as a, an example of how much our fines would cost this person because they did it. It's, there's nothing we can do. They don't know. It could be they want to improve their view. I don't really know the back. It was just like a senseless kind of thing. But I think all of us talking about it, everyone going out there, us talking about it on the summer newsletter will help people know that we are paying attention. So that's all I can say about it right now. So
Thank you. Other than that, in better news, June 1st, camp registration will start, and camp goes from June 16th to August 1st. Tennis camp is Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 9. Beach cleanup, led by the park board, the fire department, and the police department, was like a minus 20-degree windy day, and but they did a great job. The dumpster, I saw at 24, was completely filled up. So again, Mark, thanks for getting the ATVs out there and helping with all those big article stuff. And Dave, all you, Megan, Applegate, we saw, you guys were all out there, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Stop 29, the boardwalk needs to be replaced, so they're getting quotes for that, and there's going to be seating, a seating bench, kind of view bench, is there, there now as well. There had not been a bench before, so we'll be able to add that. And that's it for park board.
Thank you. Community Center, Anita?
Community Center met on, hold on here, please, May 5th. And there were just a few things. When the town worked with a group called the Frank Lloyd Wright Conservancy, Building Conservancy, and there was a tour that they scheduled in the town that took place on May 3rd. They handled everything. We did have a tour of the community center. Cindy Levy and Doug Wickstrom were there, and a tour of the town hall. Joy and I were here, and both buildings are John Lloyd Wright buildings. And the tour went really well. I think people were impressed with the town. We were assisted by Matt Farthing and Jeremy Van Giesen, yes. And they were really helpful in getting the buses around town. But again, what it brought to the town was just, people were here from all over the United States and someone from Japan. And this tour group that ran it was extremely well organized. So it was nice to have them here. Mark mentioned the rental of room 3, so the ads are outside the door, and then outside landscaping of the community center is on the agenda. Do you want to wait until we can wait to bring it up to the agenda?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Budget and Finance, May.
Yes, we did not meet in April. Revenue and expense reports were distributed along with cash balances for the town water accounts. And the State Board of Accounts 5-year audit covering the years 2020 to 24 is in its final stages with an exit conference due to be scheduled soon. So I will keep council updated once I know. Our lead auditor was hopeful that it would have been early this week, but the audit is still in the review stage, which is past the lead auditor, but needs to be completed before the exit can be scheduled. So, and then our next meeting is scheduled for June 3rd, beginning 11.
Thank you. Human Resources, Cindy.
The Human Resources Committee met on April 16th. We discussed assistant water superintendent pay increase and a bonus for the street superintendent. Although we were not able to work on the handbook this time because clerk was unable to attend, but we will get to that next month, and we have a new meeting time just for one time at 9:30 in May, this coming Wednesday,
Okay.
May 21st, actually, next Wednesday.
Tree Board, Ellen.
We did not meet this month. We'll be meeting next month, and so I really have nothing to report. I think I just talked about the girdle tree, so. Any other questions about the girdle tree, I can hopefully answer if anyone has a question.
Thank you. The Building Commission met on May 9th. Permits approved were 3028 Mayfield for a pool, 3023 Mayfield for replace and repair concrete around their pool. Permits denied 3007 Northmore because they wanted to put a deck in the setback. One permit was extended for 2319 Florimond, extended for 4 months. And then we had a discussion about Stop 31. Chris, it's my understanding from our discussion that when Stop 31 went to the BZA, they were asked to remove the signs that referenced it was private property. Is that correct?
Almost. Part of the findings of fact that were issued, voted upon and issued, included that as a concession. So it was part of that process. It wasn't required. I think there's a nuance there. You're mostly correct, but it was part of the issuance of the variance that was sought at that time, as they offered as a condition, and a condition of the variance that they were granted to remove that restrictive language.
So how would we move forward to ask them to do that? I mean, I think it clearly shows on Beacon and the survey that actually they submitted for some work to be done, that the beach access is public. So
Yeah, I think that would just, between the council and BZA, just direct me or someone, send them a letter and with a copy of that and remind them that it should be taken down, or they're at risk of having that variance be revoked.
okay, could you send them that letter?
That's
Okay.
the council's pleasure.
So they just went to the BZA?
No, that's,
Or that's an old thing?
it's came up during discussions.
Okay.
So then we looked back, because we got into a historical discussion, and then looked at that variance to see what that language, because the signs came up and the rope fence came up, and looking closer at the language of the findings and decision, it was, we were reminded.
But, so whatever they were seeking a variance for, they've already done that work, or that's?
It was granted
Okay.
years ago.
That's more of a clarification. All right, I'm up to date on the rest of the stuff. Yeah, I think that's great. We should definitely,
And then they
get
were
those signs
seeking to
down.
do some new things that didn't get approved.
yeah.
Okay. Does that need to be a motion to ask you to sign?
Probably should be, that way
Okay.
you're all on the hook.
I would make a motion to have Chris send a letter to the homeowners association, Shoreland Hills, asking them to remove all their signs that would go to private property.
I would second that motion.
Wait, can we just have a discussion? Can we
Sure,
also
any discussion?
amend it, and this is where I guess need to go back to how some of those signs got there in the first place, because even though they have they purchased or whatever, given the agreement, whatever, but they still have to follow the Long Beach rules on signs in general. So not only the private signs, but they have like 3 signs that say Shoreland Hills, no carts. So there's multiple signs there.
I think they got permission for the Shoreland Hills sign.
But like
So what we can
multiple-
do as part of that is just remind them that they need to be in compliance not only with the conditions of the findings and decision that were the basis of their variance, but also to make sure they're in compliance in general with their signs.
Yeah, because at one point there was a stop 31, since it still is stop 31 and it still is Long Beach, not Shoreland Hills, that the black signs, I think they took that down, thinking that that's now become Shoreland Hills, and it's not. I mean, that is still Long Beach. So when we talk about signs, I mean, put up someday when we talk about doing the signs, but there should be a black stop 31 sign there, just like there is from 30 all the way down to 14. But I just think that
Do you want me to inquire about what happened to that?
it's been gone for like 4 or 5 years. I'm sure it's been
That's
thrown
about
out.
the timing of the variance, so
I would
I
ask,
don't know. We
I
can
would ask you
ask.
to inquire if they
Okay.
have it.
Sure, I mean, yeah, and I just think, it would look a little better. Because it seems to be, I mean, there's always golf carts parked there, right where it says no carts and stuff like that. So if we could make the letter be all encompassing of all that stuff, I think that'd be great.
It also would seem to me that instead of holding off on it in terms of the much larger sign issue, that we could maybe look into what a new replacement sign would cost if they don't have it. That would seem to be an easy fix rather than throwing it into the
Yeah,
sign
except
thing.
for, I think, on the sign thing, could possibly be all new signs, and then we'd be spending money just to replace them. But we can.
Yeah, I don't know how much that sign costs. I have no idea. Maybe that's something, I don't know who would look into how to do that, where we find those signs.
I've been down the road of those signs before. I don't know where they came from. We looked into it with Civic. They didn't have any record of it and stuff. So I think Cindy and I later are going to talk about the sign project. Maybe we can decide or think about.
I know.
I just don't want to spend money and then in
No,
a year
and
go
I
like
don't think
that.
there's anything wrong with asking if they might still have it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's possible that they would, and that would be easy to read.
I just think it might resolve then the whole issue of whether the beach is in fact public or not public, or, start anything. And again, I get, but the sign, that whole sign thing, I think you'll talk about it later, but
Yeah, that's
just.
a good idea though, we could just put it back. But yeah, we can include that in there. That'd be great.
Kendra, I think to Kendra's point about the golf carts being parked there as well, the association there has reached out to my office several times asking us to enforce the no golf cart parking along Lake Shore Drive in that area in front of those wood bellards. So I've asked them to put up signs there stating no golf cart parking there so that we can have our deputies go through and ask people to remove those. Because what we do experience on the busy weekends is some of those golf carts hang out on the Lake Shore Drive and cause us an issue with the traffic and that.
True.
So you will see those signs staying there because I've asked them to, at least on those wood bellards, to have those no golf cart signs up for us, so.
Okay.
I think the only part of the issue there is we need those to probably be town initiated or have some policy, because there were points made at the building commission that they have illegal signs up, right? So several of them.
So maybe if we put town-made signs up.
Yeah, actually, until amended, I think you're the one with the authority to dictate where there is and isn't.
Yeah, maybe if we had a sign, just small, because signs are always ugly, but, because those no cart signs aren't that big right now, but with our logo, like, just And then make it everything look a little bit less jarring, because right now there's like,
I think I can just put the standard no parking tow away type signs up that we use throughout the town. So it's our standard sign.
We're not getting into too much cost until you figure out what's going on. What, you have technically directed, so we'll just bring up that point because it was definitely an extended conversation at the building commission.
Yeah. Okay, any more discussion?
No.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The BZA did not meet.
Joan, can I just add that this Wednesday's BZA meeting is also being canceled because there are no new petitions and no ongoing business, no new business.
Okay, so no BZA meeting this Wednesday either. Thank you. APC, Anita?
Advisory Plan Commission met on April 21st. One of the orders of business was we reviewed parking ordinances that had been before the Building Commission for a number of months, and I will be sending those parking ordinances with the revisions to the council to review for the June meeting. And our next APC meeting is May 19th.
Thank you. Building and revenue report for April? Meg?
There were 35 permits issued, totaling $2,336,895, with revenue of $25,672.02. There were 3 electric permits issued, totaling $389, 2 street cut permits with revenue of $200. Legal expenses paid in April to Rachel Nelson and James were $15,980.80. And accounting expenses paid to Center and Company were $12,134.05. And I wanted to mention about the accounting expenses that is for the months of March and April. So I believe our billing bill, we got them right after the month ended. So I think last month's bill was $330. And also that number includes $1,500 spent on preparation of the water rate study, which we still have not received, but just wanted to, council had approved that expense a couple of months ago. And I would look for a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to unfinished business, we have committee and board openings. We found someone who would like to be on the APC, Tom Bujovic. He lives at Stop 18 on Lakeshore Drive. Anita, maybe you can speak to his qualifications?
Yes, so Tom and Tina live on Lakeshore Drive. They also have a home in Columbus, Indiana, and Tom, for 20 years, in addition to having a company and being somewhat of a philanthropist in their town, he served on the BZA. He served on the Plan Commission of Columbus, Indiana for approximately 20 years. He was part of the redevelopment team in Columbus, Indiana, and he worked with a neighboring town and Columbus on a couple of other ideas in the town. He's very thoughtful. He reviewed our Plan Commission, the 2016 update to the Long Beach Plan Commission, and had quite a number of ideas on it, so I would be thrilled to have him as a member of the Advisory Plan Commission. I think he would do well, especially this year when we will be working on our comprehensive plan update.
I would make a motion to appoint Tom to the APC. This would be a 3-year term.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I don't know if you're online, Tom, but welcome aboard. That leaves our only opening as the Building Commission. We have one opening, and I actually received an applicant this afternoon, which I will forward to everyone on the Building Commission. We've really only received 2 applicants, and my question here is, one is a resident and one is not a resident. I don't think we have a residency requirement right now for the building commission,
You don't?
but it seems like they make a lot of important decisions, and it's been brought up at the building commission that maybe we wanted residents or voting members of the community to be on the building commission. How would we do that?
Well, you can take all of those things into consideration, it's just not a requirement.
Okay,
I've spoken to Larry about this. The only way to make that a mandate is changing the ordinance and making that a requirement. But
Okay.
that's something you can take into consideration when you're considering qualifications and those and things that might separate. There's nothing wrong with that.
okay. I would make a motion that we require people to be on the building commission to be a voting member of the community.
I would second that.
Any discussion?
I guess my only discussion is, it's such a hard job. Should we, I'm not opposed to that at all, but should we maybe, the building commission can still function as it is now, right? So like,
But we only need 3 members on the building
yeah,
commission.
I'm
Yes,
just wondering if since we should see if we can, although I think that's important, I also think it's more important to have the right person. So I don't know, maybe we should just leave it open as well, see if anyone else comes forward. Give it like 6 months in total. How long has it been out there already? 2 months just, right? 2 months, I think?
Whatever Joe,
2 months?
yeah.
It's been since December.
There's really
I
no
think.
hurry.
And you'd have to adapt an ordinance anyway.
Yeah, we have to adopt the ordinance.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but I'm kind of leaning towards before we go through any of that, maybe give it a little longer and see if we have to do that. Maybe somebody will step forward that's both super qualified and a resident, and then we don't have to change ordinances and then, but
okay. Well, I'll send on the,
we can still vote
But
how it was.
I like, just for moving forward for the future, oh, sorry. I like for moving forward for the future, having that, changing the ordinance so that the building commission, that anyone on the building commission has a vested interest in the community, is a registered voter here, is, you know, a resident of the community, not just someone who is here part-time. So
I agree with you.
I really think that's important for especially that committee.
I'm just curious, and I know.
You have to come to the microphone, Mr. Albers. Come on. Kevin has to see you.
Just a general question, why would someone want to be on the building commission and not be a resident of the town?
They're just summer. I think they just aren't voters, so they're just part-time. They have a whole year, but
They're-
they're just.
You still have an interest, you own property.
No, I wasn't sure, so they have,
Yeah, it's somebody that came forward, lives over.
they actually own property?
Yeah, they just aren't a registered voter because they're,
Never mind.
yeah.
I would just say too that I think I've only been on, I've gone to building commission meetings for years, and I've only been on building commission for 2 years. But I think it's important that Larry gets the support of people who are knowledgeable. I think the email that came in for a person who's looking at it, I think, you know, maybe I wouldn't be qualified other than I went to meetings, but I think you learn a lot, and I think we have a couple of very qualified, longtime building commission members. And I think that Larry can lose his support. We're still looking for a building inspector. And I think that it would be helpful, rather than waiting, because we have had the ads out there, that we look at the email that came from this person just today and the qualifications. Again, we don't have a building inspector. I think more eyes on the street also help. I know that the police department has been helpful in kind of looking for where work is going on and building permits, and I'll tell you that I do the same thing, because I do feel like I am a member of the building commission. We have a member who left, and then we have some members that for various personal reasons, can't come to meetings for an extended period of time. And so I think the more support that we can give Larry and the more eyes on things is helpful. We have a new iWorks program, which makes the job a little bit, I would say, easier, but especially for Honor and Larry, just because in order to get a permit, you have to check all the boxes before you can get a permit. And I think that that's helpful, but the building commission members also have to bide their time and learn about setbacks and listen to the other members. So I think that if anybody is qualified and we look at them, I think it would certainly, and the other thing is being a resident. I understand if you own property, but I think if you're a resident, you may be a little bit more familiar with the neighborhoods and the houses and what's going on. Does that help? I don't know. It just helps me, so.
What about the gentleman from Columbus? Would he like to also be on the building commission?
I think that he's very happy just saying yes to the APC. Just very happy with that.
And he's not a resident.
He may regret that he mentioned being on the planning commission in Columbus, because I looked at Joy and Joy looked at me and I'm like, I'm gonna call that guy. And I did. And we sold him. So there you go. Welcome, Tom.
Okay, so we'll keep, hoping we get more resumes, but in the meantime, I think we should move forward to change the ordinance that to be on the building commission, you should be a resident. We have that requirement for the BZA and for the council, and for the park board. So all the people that make important decisions have that.
Larry's on. Do you want to ask him to weigh in?
I know that that's what Larry wants. We've
Okay.
already discussed it,
Okay,
so.
great.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
It was already seconded by Colleen.
Oh, sorry.
What?
But it was already seconded by Colleen,
Oh, okay.
but you can do a vote then.
No more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So, Chris, is that something you will do? Okay, thank you. Town signs, we got a very nice proposal on town signs, and I am going to turn this over to Cindy and Kendra because they're going to take over this project. Now that JD is no longer here, so you guys want to discuss it?
I think maybe we'll have something to report next meeting, but since we just got assigned it, I don't have anything. I think we both attended the meeting and I think it's a great proposal. I like everything about it except for the suggested prices. So I think Cindy and I will dig in and see if we can just start getting some different quotes. And I think the plan will be to kind of prioritize what we maybe think is the most important and then bring it to the council and then start rolling some of that stuff into budgeting in August when Mike starts planning for budgeting so we can do some stuff in 2026 next year and then break this up into individual projects because as it stands now, it's really expensive. But again, I think the guy who did the quote, it's not necessarily his expertise to do the quote. So I feel pretty good. We can get a lot of that done over the next couple of years just at cheaper prices.
Yep. And do it gradually rather than all at once.
That sounds really good to me. I think I love the plan. It looks really nice, but the cost is really cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll just wait till you guys bring us something back.
Okay.
Will that be next month too, the cost of the surveys? Because I know we talked about that, that surveys have to be done before anything else, or you will look into that because we don't even know where right-of-ways are and.
I think that's probably like that's once we.
That's down.
Yeah, that's going to be way down the road.
They're gonna, I believe they're talking about phases.
Yeah.
So it would be like one survey for 2026, and we'd have to include that in the cost.
But we couldn't move forward with any signs or sizes until we know the survey, until we know where the
First, we need to get.
markers are.
That's correct, but I think they were all turned into just posts. So I don't think that'll really be a problem. But if they.
I know, I just know that, I mean, it was an issue with the surveys where we were told that there were surveys and there aren't surveys, so
Yeah.
that'll be all part of the
There are no
discussion.
surveys, so that's going to have to be the first step and included in the cost.
Okay.
Okay. Sand moving on Lake Shore Drive. We had a meeting last week. It got kind of contentious. I know Larry is online. Since that meeting, we received one proposal that actually sounds reasonable to me. Most of the people that were there, well, there are actually two issues. There's an issue with the paths, like some people can walk up to the beach, but the path then becomes, you can't get down to the beach. It's like it was like that a couple of years ago. There were cliffs, actually. And eventually, as you walk on them, they go down. We have the same problem with the paths and the stops. Like at stop 16, the sand is piled up all the way, to a big mound. Now, at stop 16, the residents get together every year and they work with the park board and they put down a mat, and they're doing that this weekend. They're not plowing through the dune. They're going to use shovels and they're going to level a little bit of the top of the dune to put their mat down. But the town, we worked really hard on our shore protection ordinance, and I don't think we can ever allow anybody to plow through a dune again, and that's what people want to do. We've received one proposal from Zafar Risby. I've had Larry look at it. It seems reasonable to me, and I'm just going to say here what he wants to do. Now, Zafar, his problem is the sand has come all the way up to his fence or wall or whatever you want to call it, and it's putting a lot of pressure on it, and there's sand that's gone into his yard, and it's going to collapse his fence if he doesn't do anything. So his plan would be, number one, sand relocation, remove excess 10 feet of sand that has accumulated against the wall by relocating it on the other side of the foredune on the beach. This will help relieve the pressure on the wall and reduce the risk of structural damage. A barrier installation, he will construct a snow fence barrier with adequate support along the relocated sand area to prevent it from drifting back toward the wall and to begin shaping stable formations. Dune stabilization, he will place a snow fence about 5 feet over the loose sand to minimize wind-driven sand drift and encourage the formation of permanent stabilized dunes. Safe beach access, he'll create a gradual and smooth upward slope from the house to the beach and relocate the sand. This would provide a level access that matches the existing grade on the other side without creating a tunnel or sunken pathway. Controlled sand management, use snow fencing on both sides of the access point, extending approximately 5 feet on top each side to further stabilize the sand and promote the development of long-term dune structures. And then dune grass planting, reseed the relocated sand with native dune grasses to encourage root development and further stabilize the dune over time. His last comment is, we believe that implementing these steps will not only protect our property, but also contribute to a more resilient shoreline for the local community. With your guidance and collaboration, we hope to pursue these improvements in a manner consistent with local regulations and environmental best practices. This is the only proposal I've seen that didn't include plowing through the dunes. I think it seems reasonable. I've talked to Larry about it. He thinks it's reasonable. What we would need, Zafar, I know you're on Zoom, what we would need, a couple of things would be required. We would need a topographic survey which showed the topography before your project and how it's going to be after your project is done. And we would also need an engineering report that will state, it says in our ordinance exactly what the engineering report has to say, like, no, it's not going to cause any harmful wave damage and things like that. And once we had those two things, and depending on the elevation of the area of the proposed work, you might need a floodplain permit. That depends, after you get your topographic report, when you see the elevations, you may have to get a floodplain permit. But I think all of this is doable under our existing ordinances.
Which puts it in the purview of the building commission, though.
Right. With the purview of the
Nothing
building
needed
permit.
to-
So you first have to start with the building permit. And then the other things. So, Zafar, I don't know if you want to comment?
Is there anything outside of that? Because some of the things that we discussed at that workshop were what relief, because the building commission's hands are tied, for lack of a better description, because of their requirements of the shoreline protection ordinance. So, if there's anything outside of that, then the options are whether the town council takes any action, even temporary, or there's a variance that's sought. So I just want to make sure that if there's an expectation on Mr. Risby's part, because he has been working diligently to try to work within the confines and not make changes, that we're all clear so that frustration doesn't develop, that he comes away from this meeting thinking everything's in order when he gets back before the building commission and it's determined he needs a variance or that some relief has to be granted.
Right. I mean, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know if putting the sand on the other side of the Ford, I don't know if that's a good practice or not. I'd have to see something from an engineer, and that's required to do any change in the topography. So I think we would have to take it from there.
Can I make the comments, please?
Hi, Zaggy Zafar.
Yeah, I think I will discuss with Larry and make sure that we follow all the ordinance required. And we want to make sure that there is no destruction to the dunes. And we also want to make sure we are really following your ordinance as it is now. And if there is any variation to that, we want to make sure that we follow it exactly as it is written. But I will consult that with Larry and other people, whoever is available, before we apply for the permit, and we will try to submit exactly how we plan to do it and review it, and then we will submit it. And if that's approved, then we will take the action.
He'll do what he has to before, to make sure that he does everything he should.
Okay, Zafar, that sounds good to me. I mean, I think we're going to have to take each of these cases one case at a time. So if someone wants to do something, I mean, nearly every property down there is different. And if you come to us with a plan, then I think we can work from there. But the bottom line is, we're not going, I don't think anyone on this council will vote to plow down a dune.
No. But I think this proposal's reasonable. Like, I think I'm in favor of him taking the next steps, whether it be if Larry or the building commission. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, I think that proposal's reasonable, and I agree too. Every case is gonna be a little different.
Yeah.
I just want to mention that Zafar and his wife have tried hard to work with what they're doing, and have met with Joy and Larry and me, and Joy and I walked the beach from one end to the other, and everything is different, but Zafar has tried by planting, and he is getting a Ford dune. I mean, Joy was like, so the dune in front of his house is doing, on the beach side, where his wall is, it's doing what it should be doing, but the weight is pushing it. I know he's tried doing barriers, and Larry Wall has suggested different ways of doing barriers that have to be like double at angles and things. So I appreciate that Zafar Rizvi has tried to work with us and not just gone ahead and done what he wants to do. So the fact that the town held a workshop, I think the hope is that residents see that we're trying to work with them, and that the building commission is trying to work with them, and that they don't just go and plow down a dune or do something which has been done before. So I also appreciate that he has been very thoughtful to work with the council and the building commission.
Can I make a comment? I was at the meeting, and I just, my name is Nikki Chalik. I live at 1412 Lakeshore Drive. The 13, 14, 15 owners are the ones that have the pad problems. Which is separate and distinct from Mr. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. His problem. There is paths there. They're buried in sand, but you can see them. It's not that we're going to take down the dune. That's not the request. The request is to get the path so we can get down there. We're not creating, our request is not to take down the dune. The request has been strictly to freshen the paths that already exist.
So you just want to go over the dune?
There are dunes there.
Yeah, so you just want a
Go on the
path
side
over
of the dune. The paths are on the side of the dunes, really.
Well, they're part of it, right? They're part of it.
They're what? Sorry.
They're part of the dune?
I mean, the dune, I think that's where the nuance is where the proposals need to come in as part of the workshop. And again, not to step over the conversation, but I think that's where some of the planning and taking some initiative with the shoreline protection is, there's a thought that it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, and the path is the path as it's supposed to exist, not as it has existed. Yeah. So I think that part of the discussion that needs to be had is there a coastal engineer that can support, for instance, what you want to do, that you can present to them, that gives them the confidence to say, all right, we can cut into that, because right now, the position is it's working. And so your path exists, it is just different. And it will continue to be different because it's always a moving and changing thing. Then again, that's not my mandate, I'm just cutting to the chase in terms of what that discussion is, because in the past, I don't want to use plowing as if it's some negative viewpoint, right, but that's the term, right? We clear out, we clear the path, it's more than a shovel. And it's effectively changing the dune. And right now what's happening is the system is working. The beachfront is protected, the shoreline is protected, and nature is taking its course, for lack of a better description.
I'm not sure the nature is taking its course. It's just right, those paths have been there for years. The paths are as a result of the plowing that took place years and years ago, but we couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't think that the point, and again, something more summarizing for those who didn't have the ability to be at the workshop. I don't think anybody questions that they existed. The question is, should they have existed? And now that they don't exist in those previous forms, should they ever exist again, but for nature taking them back to those and adapting and so again, it's the planning to make sure, is there engineering that supports your position so that we're not, because I think as Larry made those points during the workshop, it's going to exacerbate some of the problems if it's cleared out as it was. And some of what's existing, Mr. Rizvi's property is a good example of the protection and what's being built up. So again, I'm not challenging what you're saying. I think it's just, again, summarizing what happened at the workshop, and then the kind of support that it may be that you never get to go back to taking a machine and clearing out those paths, because that's not ultimately what's in the best interest of the dune and the shoreline.
And Mr. Risby doesn't have a path. What he's trying to do is protect his, he has a wall, a cement wall, so he's trying to protect that. When Joy and I were out walking the beach, we did see one house that had put up their own mats so that they can go over the beach. Now, then that's up to the homeowner, because you will walk along the beach and see different snow fences that are buried under. I mean, that's up to the homeowner then to make sure if the mat starts to get covered, to pull it up. But we did talk to a property manager of the homeowner who said that they were happy with that solution and they would have to keep an eye on it. And then there always is the stop access, you know, to use the different stops that we have, that the park board works hard to take care of.
They're not, at least in that area, they're not, the stops are as bad as the homeowner property.
Stops are bad right now.
Well, you
But
could
I
be down
think-
on 16. I was
I
there
think-
16 this morning.
Yeah, it was
16 totally fine, 15's fine.
As the foot traffic starts to happen, it's going to disappear. Hopefully. Usually does. Okay, thank you.
Do we need to do any voting for Safar's?
No, he's got to come up with a permit
Okay.
first. Okay, moving on to new business. Request for street closure, Ardmore Trail Block Party, May 24th.
I'd make a motion to approve that, Chief, unless you see a problem. Isn't this the second year they've done it?
It is the second annual block party for the residents on Ardmore and Elbridge. The block that they're asking to close is between Lakeshore Drive and Elbridge. All affected neighbors have been contacted and invited. There are no objections, and the reason for the closure is just for pedestrian traffic. Nothing will be set up in the street. The band that they are going to be having this year will be on the front lawn of one of the homes.
I think it's a great idea. I don't know, did any of you grow up where we had block party? I mean,
Yeah, we used to have block parties.
It's a great social networking for the neighborhood. So I recommend approval.
We have a motion, I'll second that. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? HR Committee recommendations, Assistant Water Superintendent pay increase and Street Superintendent specialty pay increase. I don't know, is this Chief or
Cindy, would you like to, or I can? I'm just referring to our chair. I've got the information, Cindy, if it helps.
Go for it. No.
Cindy, I'll start. And then
Here, I got it. Do you want specifics as far as the individual and everything? Or just the request, the assistant water superintendent for the pay increase?
Maybe start with that one. We'll separate the two. Yeah, start
Okay.
with the assistant water superintendent.
Right, so the discussion was a request by the assistant water superintendent for a pay increase.
And it is,
It's currently $25.86 per hour. He has made a request to increase to $28 per hour. The 2025 salary ordinance has a range of $22 to $30 an hour. So therefore, it is within the salary ordinance and is allowable. The water superintendent, Greg Parrish, is in favor. The office manager is in favor. The HR committee members were all in favor as well. So it would be our recommendation to the council that we increase the assistant water superintendent's current hourly rate from that of, again, $25.86 an hour to $28 per hour. The question is when would we like to begin that increase? So
When's the next pay cycle?
next pay cycle is next Monday. We are in week 2 of our current pay 11. So next Monday will be payroll payable next Friday, a week from this Friday. And then the only other question would be to Meg, just to confirm with the water department fund for this year, It'd be, a slight increase of approximately 7 months of additional pay at $2 an hour, a little bit more than that. And I'm assuming either between their salary line item for overtime or within their budget that this would be doable for this year.
Yes, it would. The only other item would just be amending the salary ordinance for our new street employee and then any of these changes. So I can
Okay.
just do all of that together.
And I would just add, just for everyone's information, that the assistant water superintendent's a 6-year employee. From the time when he was first hired to now, he has achieved many certifications. And in the opinion of the current water superintendent, if something was to happen to the water superintendent tomorrow, the assistant could step right in and we would continue with state compliance and everything. So we are all well confident that he is a very well-rounded, good employee. We would like to retain him for the future.
Do we start the pay period after the end of, because you said we're in the second week, right? So do we
Monday.
move to start it?
Start effective the next pay period.
I'd make a motion then to approve that with the taking effect next Monday.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Street superintendent.
Okay, and then the second thing that was considered by the committee was an annual bonus for the street superintendent for maintaining his annual certification as a town's employee in responsible charge, ERC, with the Indiana Department of Transportation. And he is the only one with that certification, and we felt that it would be an appropriate way of recognizing him.
And the recommendation that the HR committee has for this position was upon receiving valid certification annually to the clerk treasurer's office, upon receipt of the certification, which is due annually, he has to recertify that the pay or subsequent pays thereafter, he would receive the one-time bonus of $1,500, which is equivalent to about 2% of his base pay for the year, which I can assure you that in most municipal settings, when it comes to specialty pays, typically that's what it usually is a 2 to 3% bonus for individuals that carry a specific certification. And we would only allow this for one employee, that is the ERC. So if another subsequent one was to get the ERC, it would be the primary ERC receiving the bonus for the year. Additionally, we would recommend to the council that this be added to the town handbook so we can memorialize this under the benefits package.
I was just going to say I'm supporting that. I was going to make a motion. Go ahead.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Just for the record, Madam President, then we'll make that effective once he provides certification this year, that it could be payable sometime yet this year once we get his recertification submitted and recorded at the clerk's office. Thank you.
Okay. Community center landscaping.
Community center landscaping, you may have all noticed that the front of the town hall has been redone. The burning bushes, which are, they had just grown over the years. They hadn't been pruned other than trimmed back, and I think it allows the front of the building to kind of shine through. So we're looking at the Long Beach Community Center. Burning bushes are invasive. They are pretty when they do change color in the fall, but they are far beyond. We have this proposal from H&S to remove the bushes. There are about 50 of them, to grade and level the area, and also to prepare it for the rock installation, which is also included on the proposal. The burning bushes, when I talked to the gentleman, Rob, from H&S Services, he said you would have to cut them down to the ground, I think to a level of about, I think he's told me about a foot. And he said they would take years to grow back in any form. So what it would also do is relieve the street department from having to continue to trim those bushes. Is the town in favor of pulling out beautiful trees and destroying them? I mean, clearly, that's not in keeping with the character of the town, and we've planted some beautiful trees over the years, but I think that what it would do again is, given the fact that we're continuing to move forward with the community center, making it look good inside and outside, tackling smaller projects, I think that this is within their budget, and I think it really would make a difference to the community center. So I believe that the community center has, the community center management team, the three gentlemen have said that they would support it. I did, Joy did, I think, Henry, you understandably, the bushes are, when they bloom, they're pretty. And Chief is pointing something out to me, which is the River Rock. The cost is approximately $4,900, which would be approximately 30 to 35 yards. We'll go with the 35. That would be approximately $4,900 with the $2,500 for a cost of $74, which Meg is within the budget. 70, what did I say, $74? That would be great.
That's cheap.
That's cheap, I'm gonna hire them. $7,400, and Meg, I just want to confirm, but I know we've talked about this, that the money is in the community center budget.
That is correct.
This would be part of their capital project for 2025, one of their continuing capital projects.
I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second for discussion?
So I have a question, though. So is anything going to be put there? It's just going to be bare, like stumps?
Great.
So I'm sorry, like I can't picture it.
Great question, Colleen. So currently we have the burning bushes and mulch that's there. So the burning bushes would be removed, all 50 of them. All of the mulch would be removed as well. The area would then be leveled and sloped away from the building.
Okay.
Fabric would be installed, River Rock on top of the fabric, and then into either this fall or next spring, as we begin to continue the improvements around the community center, we could add some grasses, some other plantings around there. We would just pull back the River Rock, cut out the fabric, and then plant something in there, some new vegetation.
Okay, something that looks a little, I guess,
beachy.
More native to the area, I guess.
Similar to what we just did to the town hall.
Okay, because in my mind, I'm picturing like that. What?
And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that I believe Rob said that we can, that people can take the bushes. I mean, they're going to try and remove them, so if people would like them, I think that once we know he's coming, he was going to make an effort to try and keep those where,
To save them.
you know, to save them, so if people want to plant them, I don't know, on a hillside or somewhere, I mean, that they could do that.
Okay, no, that makes more sense. I'm, okay, thank you for the explanation.
But they're really hard on the building.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I like that there's a, I just was thinking, is it just gonna be bare? Like, okay.
Just have to add, my children will really miss
I
hiking.
know, the kids love to go back there. That was like my first thought.
And the other plan is once the building is exposed and the bushes are removed in the near future here, probably in next year's budget, we're looking at getting the exterior of the entire community center a fresh coat of paint. So that's going to occur as well. I mean, we now have the roof, the new gutters. So next year we'd like to paint the entire building probably in late spring, right before the summer.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Meg, I think we could give some of those bushes to your kids, and you can just let them run around your house in those bushes.
We have a motion and a second, right? All in
No
favor?
second.
Aye.
Who seconded?
We didn't have a second.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Fueling station upgrade, unleaded and diesel.
This has been one of our bucket list items that we've been wanting to address for some time here in the town. Currently, our fueling station, which is for both our diesel and our unleaded fuel, is a very simple padlock system. You unlock the padlock, you fuel, you then lock the padlock and you pull away from the fueling station. We have a very simple tracking mechanism where our deputies log into the computer system. On the spreadsheet, they then enter the date, the mileage, and the number of gallons consumed. And I will tell you that there are times that they forget to put down the fuel usage because obviously they get a call, things get busy, and it gets missed. This system would allow us not only for our deputies, but we have the water department, the street department, the police department, and the fire department. You have 4 departments that utilize our fueling station. This proposal, I've reached out to our current vendor, Keystone Cooperative, and asked to upgrade the entire fueling station. So we would go from a 500-gallon unleaded holding tank to a 1,000 double-walled gallon unleaded tank and a brand new 500-gallon diesel tank that would also be a double-wall tank. I met with the street superintendent today, discussions about putting in some crushed limestone where currently there's mulch that's under there, redoing the entire fueling station along with adding a computerized tracking system where each employee would be given a specific number to utilize the fueling station. We would then have software tracking, remote tracking of our fuel, both the usage and the fuel company can see when our fuel tanks are getting low. So currently they just come out every about 10 days and fuel our tanks up, they refill them. Where with this new system, they can do everything remotely. We would have a more secure and a more accountable system that would deter any type of theft from occurring as well. So it's my recommendation to the council that we move forward with this proposal from Keystone Cooperative, the upgrading of the fuel station for the 2 new fueling or the holding tanks, and the computerized system is at no cost to the town. They, however, require us to hire an electrician to make the final electrical connections, which would be a minimal cost, and then there's an annual cost of approximately $228 a year for the software and reporting system. When you divide that by 4 different departments, you're looking at about $60 per year per department to have some accountability and tracking for fuel use for the town. So therefore, it's my recommendation that we move forward with this proposal and allow Keystone to put in the new fueling station. If approved, this would occur in the next 4 to 8 weeks. Any questions?
So Keystone they put the tank in, they handle all the, just like the construction, whatever, putting the tank in.
First, it'd be the removal of
Yep,
current tanks.
remove it, disposal,
Yep, and then take
installation, and we just hire
electrician
to hook it up.
and pay for the software.
And the $228 and then the $20 a month for the reporting.
Yes.
That's it?
Well, it's $228 annually for the whole town.
Yeah,
So-
and then there's the $20 a month, right? Isn't there a $20 a month charge?
No monthly charge. It's just an annual charge of $200.
I'm sorry, I must have read that wrong.
The Keystone is very eager to do this as well because it will cut down on the number of times that they have to come into the town.
Okay.
Right now, it's an unknown. They don't know how many gallons are left in our tank every 10 days. So they're just assuming we need to be refueled. Some days they come here, they may only, in our 500-gallon tank, they may drop off 100 gallons to top it off.
Okay.
Same thing with our diesel. We use more diesel fuel in the winter when we're doing our plowing operations, where in the summer we are not utilizing much diesel. Now Keystone from their corporate offices can monitor our fuel tanks. They can see where our levels are. They can then schedule it with their drivers. It's going to save them man hours, gasoline traveling out to fuel our tanks. So they're very eager to do this as well. My negotiations with them to offset the cost was letting them know that I was eager to seek additional quotes to get this system in place and they want to continue the working relationship they have with us, so therefore, they offered it to the town at no cost to say, we would like to continue the working relationship, we will put these tanks in, all of the necessary equipment at no cost to the town other than the electrician.
Thank you.
So,
Colleen, there was an email, I thought there was something about $20 a month too, which was where you were replying, great question, the $20 a month is for the tracking reports and software program fuel system, payable to Fuel Lock annually, which is separate from our fuel vendor Keystone Cooperative.
so I apologize, the 228 or so would be that 20 for the whole year.
Okay,
So,
That's what,
Got it.
okay.
perfect, thank you.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the...
I'll second.
Tanks.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Additional accessories and safety equipment for the new F-550?
last week, the street superintendent went to Lenco and inspected our 2024 F-550 snowplow truck. This truck obviously is much different than the unit that it will be replacing the 2012 that we have currently. We're still going to keep the 2012 as a backup, but this will be one of our primary snowplow trucks for the winter months. When Tom had conducted the inspection, compared to, I guess I'll refer this to when you buy a vehicle that comes with just the standard accessories and the standard equipment, when Tom looked at the truck, he noticed many things that he felt we needed as a town to have this safely operated on our roadways. That being a backup camera, side steps to get Tom in and out of the truck. This truck obviously sits up much higher than we anticipated than our current truck. So when Tom went there, he's like, Mark, I'm having a hard time getting into it. We're going to need side steps to get into it. So side steps, rear backing up camera, and then also, as we know, we could get some very difficult lake effect snows here in Northwest Indiana. Tom felt that the lighting, the emergency lighting on it wasn't appropriate enough, that he wanted to add some additional lighting, which I am in favor of, because I do want our snowplow trucks to stand out when we are plowing in a whiteout. So to do that, I sent all the council members the accessories, the breakdown in cost, to include the $3,552 in labor to install these additional safety items, accessories, running boards, and camera system. Comes out to $12,073. The fund that this would be paid from is fund number 2201-530-441, which is other equipment. That is in the current motor vehicle highway operating budget for 2025, which has a current balance of $29,660.02 as of March 31st of this year. The reason I put this in front of the council is typically whenever we have a large expenditure that's more than $5,000, we try to bring it in front of the board, asking your approval. Tom has this in his budget and would like to spend his budget on these particular items. So therefore, he is requesting that the council allow him to move forward with this expenditure. And then the truck would be ready the latter part of June, back here at the town and ready for plowing this winter. And I also support Tom's recommendations.
I'd make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Resolution number 2025-004, adopt the Long Beach Police Department's golf cart registration policy.
This resolution is just to formalize what the department has implemented, much like we've done with some of the other recent policies.
Yeah, I think everybody read it. I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just had a little typo, and then I had a typo in the policy too, so can I just give those to
You can send it to me, I'll be happy to
Chief Swistek?
And Chris can
Yes.
change it.
Please do.
do I need to talk about those or
No.
just?
Just give
Good, so we
them.
can adopt what's gonna be final. So
They're literally just kind of typos, so it's, you know, in the resolution, there's an extra comma in the first sentence. So it's, you know, and in the policy, it says golf carts found not to posse, which I believe would be possessed, but if golf carts are being part of a posse, I want to be in that. And just, you know, it just form like keeping it the clerk treasurer's office instead of clerk. So nothing terrible, but just a couple of things to clean it up.
If I could have your copy, I will
Yes, sir.
make the changes. Thank you so much.
I would amend the motion to approve with those changes. Thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Operation Pullover Traffic Grant Overtime, State of Indiana reimbursement.
The Long Beach Police Department annually participates in the State of Indiana Traffic Enforcement Grants, which are commonly referred to as Operation Pullover. These grants are managed by the LaPorte County Sheriff's Department. So therefore, each month, the Sheriff's Department assigns our deputies a specific number of hours that they can go out on overtime traffic patrols, which assist us with numerous things. One is obviously stricter traffic enforcement, and two, allows us the ability to have an extra deputy on duty, so if something was to occur, the on-duty deputy now has an additional resource to utilize the deputy that's being paid 100% by the grant. This grant reimburses the town at 100% of the overtime. There is no match that is required. Recently, the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute and the state grant program changed the overtime allotment from that of time and a half and now allows cities and towns to pay their deputies and or officers double time to work the grant. What I'm asking from the council is to memorialize this for us as a town and to approve this practice so that we have it in a resolution and then also for the State Board of Accounts for future reference to reflect and assist our clerk treasurer as justification as to the double time rate that the officers are paid to participate in this grant. Most commonly, they're never given more than 8 to 10 hours in a given month. And then Sergeant Seitz monitors the overtime on our behalf. He then copies the payroll checks of the officers and the overtime cards, submits them to LaPorte County Sheriff's Department, and then the clerk treasurer's office receives a reimbursement for 100% of what the town paid out in overtime. So,
I just have a question. Is this, oh, sorry. Are we at risk with the state budget of this being cut, or do you see this as being continued indefinitely?
I see this being continued. When I look back, it's been going on for 20 plus years or more. I mean, this grant is funded pretty heavily both on the state and federal level. You hear the old click it or ticket, the seatbelt enforcement, the operating while intoxicated enforcement. Coming up on Memorial Day, leading into Memorial Day weekend, the entire county, LaPorte County, I believe the city of Michigan City's police department just put out a press release today notifying their residents that they're going to have an increase in traffic enforcement leading into the Memorial Day weekend, which also coincides with all the proms across the county as well. So to Cindy, to your point, I don't see it going away anytime soon. If it were, then our officers just won't be assigned the overtime and therefore would not work it and it would not cost the town any additional funds. So, and we monitor it very closely to make sure that we do get reimbursed 100% for the hours that we put forth.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
I would make a motion to approve. Do we have a second for discussion?
If we could direct,
Second.
sorry.
Any more discussion?
I'm sorry, Madam President, if we could also then direct our town attorney to draft a resolution for us to have at the next meeting would be great. So, thank you.
And
Okay,
who
I'll
seconded
include that in the
Cindy?
motion.
Got that?
Cindy did, okay.
Okay, any more questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Haas and Associates invoice number 11 for 2024-2 CCMG, $37,006.26 for payment approved.
I'll make a motion to approve that. I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Haas and Associates, payment number 1 for 2024-2 CCMG Street Improvement Project. Engineer's recommendation for pay, application number 1, approved for payment to Reeve Riley Construction for $278,993.57.
Madam President, if I may add just some additional information, this pay application would be paid from the approximate, I believe, Meg, $1.3 million received from the state of Indiana in a grant. So the initial pay vouchers would be paid from the grant funds that the town has received. I am anticipating at your June meeting to be presenting a change order, which would be change order 1, which is some slight modifications to the CCMG paving project. Currently, we've been doing some on-site work changes that right now is to a credit to the town of about approximately $18,000 in credits. But we have also realized as we move forward with this very large $1.7+ million project that there will be some other changes that will cost us slightly more, not into a very large amount, but will cost us probably a few dollars more as we make some changes to some of the stormwater and other things we have encountered along the way with unknowns that we've come into during the construction project. Nothing alarming, but I just want to let you know that you will see a change order probably in June sometime. So.
Okay. Any more questions or discussion?
I have a comment.
Okay.
I just want to mention Sam's signature.
Okay.
I'll have to show you afterward, but I just noticed it on this. It made it kind of nice to read it and look at the numbers.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next up is tennis court survey. This is on here because Zach and I were discussing, moving forward with the project for tennis courts. And the very first thing they're going to need is a survey of that area. But since that whole area has recently, from the other side of the community center all the way over to here, has recently, we've been told, has always been ours. We don't have a survey of anything over there. I think it would be a good idea if we got a boundary survey, at least for that area. And I would like to give a quote to have that done, and I'll bring it to the council next month and for approval. But I think we should have that.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Civic Plus website proposal.
Yes, I can speak on that. So Mark, Kayla, and myself met for another meeting and demonstration with a representative for our current website, which is called Civic Plus. And come this November, our current website is no longer supported. So we can either stay with them, and we heard what they have to offer, or we would have to look elsewhere. So they are offering a standard starter package or a premium starter package. After much discussion and 3 phone calls with this gentleman, Mark, Bill, and I would all recommend that we keep the standard package. The premium package has it would allow us to post more photos and kind of give us some capabilities that would be nice, but it would actually be upwards of $2,000 a year for that premium package. The standard package, we currently pay $3,200 for our website. It's going to be very similar, but also enhanced. Kayla and I have complaints of the current website.
Can you
That
just
are-
talk a little louder so Joy can hear?
Oh,
Sarah?
sorry.
I'm sorry.
So we currently pay $3,200 per year. And Mark followed up my email back to this gentleman today, and he actually lowered it $200 from the additional $1,000, which would take us up to $4,200, and he offered it for $4,000 today. The implementation, if we were not current clients, would be $10,000 for them to build us a new website, or just for us to become a client. So lucky for us, he had said that there would be a slight increase to keep the same website that we have. Slight ended up being the $1,000, which has now become $800. Again, the premium would give us an option to text residents. I just don't think we need that. So we keep our email blast functionality. The module, it comes with 12 different modules that are part of this package, many that we currently have, and then a handful such as forms. We can have some fillable forms on the website. A lot of them would be forms that we can't necessarily change, but something new that we may want to utilize. So our recommendation, again, the premium package would be an additional $2,000 or even more, because and that would cost, if we did a premium, we would have to spend $1,500 on implementation. So keeping with our same website, we also are avoiding a $1,500 implementation. So our recommendation is to just keep this software as our website vendor and just go with the standard package, which again is an additional $800 per year. So I don't know if we need a motion to, we also already paid the bill in April, so the additional cost won't be due for another almost a year, I think.
Next spring, we'll have to make the next payment for our annual payment. And then also they indicated on our last Zoom call with them that they've now implemented changes where there are implementation fees they're charging other clients. But we reminded him at our very first meeting that we were promised no implementation. So therefore they took off the implementation that they recently just passed across the board for everybody, but they grandfathered us in, so which was good. And to Meg's credit, she sternly reminded him during our phone call that there should be no implementation costs to the town. So, so thanks, Meg.
So that's just the news on the website. I don't believe we need a motion for continuing with our same website with an $800
Just be a
increase.
cost increase for
Or
next year.
just informative for all of you that we're going to keep our website.
That sounds good to me.
Thank you.
The same.
Claims approval, Meg.
Town checks 21588 to 21665, totaling $223,194.14. Water checks 55263 to 55287, totaling $136,794.70. April payroll $77,449.70. And I would look for a motion to approve, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any council comments? I would move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.